Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadians lose what was an absolute roller coaster of a game 5-4 in the shootout against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And again, this was an absolute just up and down crazy game. Especially the end of the game there. There were definitely moments in that game where, you definitely want to remember those and replicate that play. And definitely like in that second period, for example, just stuff that you want to forget and never have come back up again. So again, just a very much like up and down crazy performance from the Canadians. You would love to see 60 minutes of performance like the performance we gave in the first period and in the third period especially, but no, it just has not happened for the Canadians so far this season. There's just been very few games where we've actually been able to give that 60-minute performance, and I think that's part of just the team being really young. Obviously, we add Philip Deneau, we're still the youngest team in the league by a wide margin, I would say. So we're still just learning how to be, a solid team and just compete the same way consistently on a night-to-night basis. But it'll come. But yeah, so the first period, as I mentioned before, like a lot of power play opportunities for the Canadians. We absolutely dominated the shot totals in that first period, but couldn't quite find a way to get the goal scoring to go our way. But it's just like, especially on the power play, there's just so much like, I feel like part of it is just that there's so much diversity going on in our power play. We keep switching up our lines. It's hard to find chemistry and all that kind of stuff. Like we had our chances, obviously, a lot of broken sticks as well. That definitely plays a factor. I don't know what's going on there, but I feel like Demidov and, some other guys were breaking sticks on pretty much every chance they had. A lot of unlucky plays going on in that department. But we end up not scoring, and that's kind of just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. You get 3 power plays and you're still 0-0. That gives the other team a perfect opportunity to go the other way and score goals of their own. And that's exactly what happens here. The second period as a whole was just a disaster for the Canadians. They just had absolutely nothing going. Left Jacob Fowler out to dry pretty much in that entire thing. Kucherov scores his first goal of that game on a breakaway opportunity just from, and it's another opportunity where I feel like it happens a lot to the Canadians where they're a little bit overzealous going into our attacking zone, rushing on offense. We get some pinching going on from our defensemen, and then all of a sudden, the puck doesn't go the way that we want it to go, and all of a sudden we're, back checking a guy on a breakaway the other way, and when that guy on a breakaway is Nikita Kucherov, you can pretty much just, guarantee a -1 there. I feel like too many times I feel like we're over pinching in our offensive zone, and we're leaving opportunities for fast breaks the other way. Odd man rushes, breakaways obviously is what happened here. And that's exactly what happens. But those are one of those things. Is like you can have so much offense, you can pinch in, you can do all that stuff. But if you're not going to score and you're not going to get back into your position, nobody's going to cover for you. Then we're basically playing 3-on-3 overtime with 5 guys. So that's disappointing there. And then obviously Kucherov doubles down with another goal. Just more bad coverage and all that kind of stuff. Like we just for whatever reason in the second period just looked like a team that was recently on like a 5-day Christmas vacation, which is exactly what we were. But at the same time, we're playing a team who just played a really grueling game against the Florida Panthers yesterday, and we're supposed to be a rested team who's had 5 days off, and it looked like they were the ones who had the jump, and we looked tired. We looked like we were still digesting our food from Christmas, and that's just kind of just a frustrating thing. It's like you got to be able to take advantage of a team that's gone through what they went through in their game, so many penalties and fights and all that kind of stuff. Like they should be dead tired coming in to play us the very next day, and we have a 5-day rest. Like we're supposed to be looking like the better team with more energy, and that is not what happened, especially defensively in that one. So frustrating there. Nick Paul scores again. It's another one where it's like, literally, they had so much opportunity and so much time in our offensive zone. Like the guy, I think it was Kucherov or somebody, came out of the penalty box and literally just like tapped it to the guy. Like he literally had all day at our opposing blue line. There was nobody even close, and Fowler made the save, but then it comes back again, and Nick Pohl's not going to miss from the chance that he had backdoor there, and there's no recovery. There's nobody's coming back and playing defense, and it's just like I just don't understand. Like we just had such a collapse in that second period, and like that's just not an effort that is is in any way good enough to be, you know, a playoff contender, a Stanley Cup contender, or whatever we want to be this year. Like that's not going to cut it. So a really frustrating second period, especially considering how that first period went. We should have been, you know, up by a couple with all the power play opportunities we had in that first period, and then we just let the Lightning kind of run away with it in that second period. And then in the third period, we kind of started to ramp things up a little bit. Ivan Demidov scored his 10th goal of the season. Slavkovsky and Dobson get their 15th and 18th assists, respectively, there. A nice little just, like, Demidov's just crashing the net, and Slavkovsky gives a nice, like, no-look backhand pass to him and finds him, you know, just literally just crashing the net. He's able to put that in. So gave a little bit of light there. And then Pontus Holmberg scores to kind of snuff that life out a little bit, or so they thought, at least. Just another one, like, you know, whatever, but yeah, and this is where it gets crazy, right? Yuri Slavkovsky gets his 12th goal of the season. Kapanen gets his 9th assist of the season there. And now suddenly we've got some life, right? You know, like Slavkovsky kind of just comes in, and this is a really good example of, like, this is what, you know, a lot of people have been saying it after this game, like exactly what the Canadians have been waiting for with Slavkovsky, and he delivers on that in this game. Already had a point before this goal, but if you watch that whole goal, he just comes all the way down from our own defensive zone, and he's calling for the puck. He's slapping his stick on the ice. He wants that puck on his stick, and then he gets it and just rips it top corner, and all of a sudden the Canadians are back in this thing, and that's a big play for Slavkovsky. It's his 12th goal of the season. I cannot remember if Slavkovsky, like when Slavkovsky has ever gotten 12 goals. Obviously, he's gotten 20 or so in previous years, but it definitely did not happen this fast into the season. Obviously, we're at game 38 here, so definitely good to see him progressing a little bit quicker now than he has in previous years. It's starting to feel like he's really, you know, stepping into his own, getting a little bit more confident. He's a little bit more developed. Obviously, he's still 21. He's still working on a lot of things. There's definitely things to improve upon in his game, but, you know, it seems to me like he's really found his way in the NHL. He's really leading this, you know, this kid line that we've got with Kapanen and Demidov, and it feels like he's really, you know, stepping into a new era of his performance here, and that to me really showed that it was a really nice goal from him, and showed that he's wanting the puck a little bit more, and he's making things happen when he's on the ice. And then Dobson scores another one, a nice just kind of getting the puck to the net. Caulfield and Matheson get assists on that one. Their 19th and 14th assists, respectively. Dobson his 7th goal there. So, and all of a sudden, you know, Dobson scores that goal, and we're definitely back in this game, you know. You know, it was 4-2 at that point, and then we score another one to make it 4-3, and, you know, suddenly we've got, like, what was like a 7 and change left in the game to score one more goal, and, like, all of a sudden this game that was going to be, you know, marked down as an embarrassment. You know, I was already thinking about the rant I was going to give on this on this video about, you know, how the Canadians performed, especially in that second period, but suddenly we're back in this game. We're making things respectable a little bit, and what do you know, who else but Yuri Slavkovsky with his 13th goal of the season, Ivan Demidov with his 22nd assist, and Lane Hudson getting on the score sheet for his 31st assist. Incredible from Lane Hudson, by the way. Demidov padding his stats as well. Good to see that. He's got, I think he had 2 points in this game, goal and assist there. So, but yeah, an absolutely incredible goal from Slavkovsky, just kind of just ripping the puck, seeing what happens, and he finds that top corner with 3 seconds left or whatever, 4 seconds left, to tie the game up. And what was at one point a really embarrassing showcase from the Canadians for the second time in a row against the Tampa Bay Lightning becomes a game that is going to overtime, and really impressive there. Like as I said before, Slavkovsky with a really great performance. He had a 3-point night in this one, and he really showcased, you know, his talents there with his nice shot, you know, good passing abilities, all that kind of stuff. Like he's really coming to his own, and he gave us, you know, I would say Slafkovsky more than anybody else on the team in this game gave the Canadians a chance to win that game, and at least got us a point in this one. So, and a lot of chances in overtime as well. Obviously, nobody scores in the overtime frame, but a lot of chances. Cole Caulfield hit like the corner post on a shot attempt late into the overtime frame, but Nobody is able to find the back of the net. And unfortunately, in the shootout, things did not go our way. We had Demidov go in, and he kind of just lost a handle on it. And Caulfield went in. And I'm telling you, sometimes it works, but a lot of times I feel like Caulfield, like, go back and watch every single Caulfield shootout attempt. He does the exact same move on pretty much every single one. I know there's one, I think the one that he scored against Toronto when we played them like 2 weeks ago or something like that, where he went top left corner instead, but he pretty much always goes for that 5-hole shot after a couple stick handles. And it just, like, he's just a little bit too readable, and it's kind of just frustrating to see. Like, you can call it next time the Canadians go to a shootout. Watch Cole Caulfield. He's probably gonna cut to the right side, come back towards the middle, do a couple stick handles, and then try to slide it in 5-hole. And definitely early on in his career it worked out a lot, but I feel like recently goalies have really been, they've got their eye on him. They know what he's gonna do. It feels like he's getting saved on that attempt more times than not. So I'd like to see him switch it up a little bit. I do like to see Demidov go out on the shootout there. I feel like he could have scored if he kept a handle on it. I think his look was good. He just lost the handle on it, which is unfortunate. And then unfortunately, Tampa Bay went 2 for 2 in their penalty, their shootout attempts. So that won them the game there. But once it gets to a shootout, it's really anybody's game. It's just kind of one of those things where you gotta just hope for the best and see what happens. I would like to see. I'm personally in favor of seeing, like a 10-minute 3-on-3, and then just end in a tie or something like that, because the shootout is just such a gimmick, and really at that point, like, we basically tied if you're going to a shootout to decide the winner. So, but either way, a big point that we earn in this one is the big takeaway here that gives us 46 points on the season, only one behind the Tampa Bay Lightning for second in the Atlantic, and obviously with Detroit's win tonight, they're taking a little bit of a lead there with 49 points in the Atlantic. But yeah, every point counts. Obviously, we've been looking at how competitive this Atlantic division has been. Pretty much every team is still very much in the mix. Obviously, if we scroll down a little bit, we got Florida in that second wild card position with 42 points. Buffalo also with 42 points. They've been on quite a heater lately. They are 8-2-0 in their last 10, which is very, very impressive for them. And then Ottawa, Boston, Toronto, 41 and 40 points for those guys. So it's very much anybody's game. Pretty much everybody in the Atlantic is within 8 points of each other. Every single team in the Atlantic Division is within 8 points of each other, or 8 or 9 points of each other. So it is absolutely anybody's game. And who would have thought at game, just after Christmas, that the Toronto Maple Leafs would be last place in the Atlantic Division? That just goes to show that it is absolutely anybody's game to win this division, and every single point matters. So it is absolutely huge that the Canadians were able to come away with a point in this one. We would love to have gotten 2 points in this one. If not for that, terrible second period effort from the Canadians, we probably would have had that 2 points. But here we are. We're sitting still pretty in third place in the Atlantic Division. Holding on pretty tight to a playoff spot. We do have a 4-point lead on the next highest Atlantic Division opponent, which is definitely solid. But it's the Florida Panthers. The 2-time Stanley Cup champions back to back. They are not going to go away quietly, and they are only going to get better as the season goes along. Buffalo is playing really well as well. So it is absolutely anybody's game. We have to continue to be really aggressive in getting every single point that we can possibly get. So yeah. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. Every single point matters. We gotta continue to find ways to win games. Our next game, Speak of the Devil, is against the Florida Panthers on Tuesday. This is another good, contest for us against another Atlantic Division opponent that is, knocking on the door, of taking our spot here. So a loss against the Panthers on Tuesday would, bring them to within 2 points of us in the Atlantic Division. And, with wins for any other Atlantic Division team, we could have put our own playoff spot in jeopardy here. So this is another big game for the Canadians to try to get a win on, start a little winning streak going again. I feel like, we're a team that can win games, right? You watch the games, there are a lot of games where, the Canadians can win and they should win. It's just their own mistakes and their own lack of effort in some circumstances is what's keeping them away from getting the wins here. So So that's all I have for this one. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you after a big win on Tuesday against the Florida Panthers.